Good morning, everybody. Today is day 16 of your packet, and it's Miss Nye here. I'm so excited to read with you today. I want everyone to open to this page in your packet. The text is called Plant Life Cycle. Once you're at this page, you can follow along, and let's read together. Before we start reading, I just want to show you some important vocabulary that we will see in this text. The first word you might not know is nursery. A nursery in this text means a place where plants are grown. The next term is a plant embryo. An embryo is the part of the seed that is the first part of a plant's life cycle. The next word is germination. Germination is the part of the life cycle when the seed starts to sprout or starts to grow. Decompose. When a plant dies and is broken into tiny pieces that go back into the soil. Now on this page, these are some pictures and definitions to help you remember some more words in the reading. So the first box says seed, the part of a plant that can grow into another plant. The next one says root, the part of the plant that is underground. The next one says seedling. A seedling is a young plant grown from a seed. And the last box says leaf. A leaf is the flat, usually green part of a plant that grows from the stem. Okay. Plants go through a lot of changes in the spring. It can be fun to watch them transform right in front of your eyes. The beginning of spring is a great time to plant seeds. Visit a local nursery and pick out seeds of your favorite flowers, fruit, or vegetable plants. Find a good spot in your garden and plant the seeds as the weather warms up. Once the seeds are planted, wait and observe how the plant changes over the course of the season. Start a plant journal where you write and draw your observations each day. The first step in the plant life cycle is the seed. Inside each seed is a plant embryo that is protected by the outer shell of the seed. This is what you will plant into the ground. It is very important that the seed is taken care of. Otherwise, it may never become a plant. The seed should be planted in good soil. It should also be in a spot that gets sun. The soil where the seed is planted should also get enough water. This can come from rain or from you watering it yourself. The second step in the plant life cycle is the seedling. During this step, germination happens. The seed breaks out of the outer shell of the seed. Roots stretch down through the dirt. A stem and a couple of leaves will appear outside of the soil. The seed will break through when conditions are just right. There needs to be the right amount of water, oxygen, light, and a good temperature for the seed to become a seedling. The third step in the plant life cycle is the mature plant. After the plant has sprouted through the soil as a seedling, it keeps growing. It uses sunlight and a process called photosynthesis to help it grow. A mature plant will have a strong stem and roots and also leaves. The fourth step is the flowering plant. The plant will begin to grow flowers, and this is how new plants will be formed. The flowers create pollen. Birds, butterflies, bees, and other insects will take the pollen and carry it to another part of the flower. This causes a seed to form. The seeds are dropped and carried across the land by wind, water, or animals. The seed will bury in the dirt, and then the whole life cycle will start over. Once a plant dies, it still helps other plants. It decomposes and adds nutrients to the soil. This will help new plants to grow. The plant life cycle is an amazing process that is so interesting to observe throughout the spring season. Okay, so now we have directions to underline the answers in the text. So in red, what is the first step in the plant life cycle? So I'm going to go up. We can do this one together. And I am going to take my red marker. If you have red, please do this. And I need to underline the first step in the plant life cycle. So I'm going to look back in my reading. Oh, and I already see the first sentence of the second paragraph says, the first step in the plant life cycle is the seed. So I'm going to underline this whole sentence in red. The next direction says, in blue, underline the answer to how do plants help other plants when they die? So go back to the text and look for where it tells us, how do plants help other plants when they die? In green, you need to underline, what is a plant that sprouts through the soil called? So go back to the text and look for the answer to the question, what is a plant that sprouts through the soil called? Then underline it in green. In yellow, underline the answer to what is a flowering plant? In purple, underline the answer to what takes the pollen to another part of the flower. So now it's time for our questions. So question one says, what is the main idea of paragraph 4? So I want you to go back to your text and count until you get to the fourth paragraph. So paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4. So this is where we see paragraph 4. I'll make a little star right here. Paragraph 4. So you need to reread paragraph 4 and write a sentence to tell the main idea of just this one paragraph. Question 2 asks us, a cycle is something that happens over and over again. Why is this called a plant life cycle? So question 2 gives us the definition of a cycle. So a cycle is something that happens over and over again. Why is this called a plant life cycle? Question 3 says, how do birds and insects help the plant life cycle? So go back to your text and look for when it talks about birds and insects that help the plant life cycle. How do they help the plant life cycle? Number 4 says, what are some things that a plant has to have to be able to grow? So let's go back to the text and look for some examples of things that a plant has to have to be able to grow. Oh, and that's the last question. So we are all done with our reading for today. Don't forget to send a picture of your work to your teacher. Thanks for working with me.